Hi everyone, I'm Prateek Mahajan. I head the business operations at Unicommerce. Today we have a masterclass on the D2C supply chain playbook, where we will talk about the nuances that you must keep in mind while planning the post-purchase journey for your customers. Now, in this, we'll be talking about the post-purchase experience from two aspects. One would be how it elevates your customer experience, and the other is how it brings efficiency into your operations, which basically means improving your bottom line. In the end, the focus that we have for any business is to make profits, and operations are the thing that's going to really help you do that. Now, before we start everything, I'll give you a very quick brief about who we are, what we do. We are Unicommerce. We are India's largest e-commerce focused supply chain SaaS solution, and we process 20% of India's all e-commerce volumes. And not just that, we actually have 30% of India's D2C volume as well running on our platform. This is something that we have worked very hard over the past few years. And this presentation is going to be about how we have helped those brands go from one order, 10 orders, 100,000 to 50,000 orders in a single day. And what have been our learnings together with those 200 to 250 odd brands working with us. Now, I won't take much time. I'll quickly go on to the next parts where we cover the presentation in the next 30 to 40 minutes. Now, what is D2C? D2C is basically a direct to consumer business model where the brand sells to and forms a direct relationship with the end customer and forms brand loyalty. Now, here, the important point to note is that the brand owns the customer data, which they use to reconnect to them, remarket to them, and form repeat behavior, which is in the end the goal of any D2C business to grow and work with their own customers. This data is used not just to connect to the customers, but also grow their own product lines which suit better the customers. Now, D2C business is often supplemented by adding different sales channels onto their platform. So, for example, a brand may sell on various marketplaces, may sell on offline channels to add to their supplementary sales channels. Now, such as Amazon, Flipkart, offline stores, so on and so forth. In the long run, over a long span, the business would actually end up becoming in equilibrium with the market, which probably would be majority offline business and minority online business, as has happened with majority of the brands over the last 8 to 10 years as well. Currently, that ratio would be around 90-10, which is 90% offline to 10% online. And with time, it should actually go to 80-20, which is 80 offline and 20 online. Now, the focus on this discussion will be towards creating a playbook to manage that scale of operations that you will definitely need while you're growing that brand. So let's quickly go on to the contents of this presentation. Now, when we talk about the overall part, what we'll be end up doing, first we'll start about how we end up introducing our brand. How do we end up focusing on what are the pre-purchase elements? Then we focus on larger questions which are needed to set the entire operations up, which is in-house versus outsourcing operations. And then we talk about the technology. Yes, technology, I think, is the nerve center. It is one of the biggest points that you end up looking at. And if you have the correct technology at the start, I think the journey to becoming a large brand becomes very, very easy for you guys. Your supply chain technology takes care of your inventory, your warehouse, ensuring your orders are verified, ensuring your order processing is top notch, that ensures best customer experience. Then afterwards, you have your partners integrated with your system for deliveries. And in the end, if you have any customer returns, how does your system manage it? Imagine now all of this becoming in one single system. And that is what how large technologies work on. Now, let's go on to the introduction to brand journey. Now, this is more towards the pre-purchase part where we'll spend some time. First point tends to be product and procurement. What do you really want to sell? What is its procurement cost? You have to note that the procurement cost is the biggest part in your P&L. The cheaper the product, the better the margins that you have. And obviously, you have to ensure that the quality is top notch. So be sure when you're procuring the product, the costs are well negotiated because at a scale, those costs will end up hitting your bottom line. Once the product is decided, you have to make sure that your sales channels are taken care of. Where are you selling? Are you selling on your own website? such as hosted on Shopify, Magento, or any other platform? Are you selling on your marketplaces, offline stores? Once these are sorted out, you know, hey, this is where you have to sell. Going on the same order, now everything is set up, your shop is set up, your products are set up. How do you generate traffic? Now, traffic can be different ways. Traffic can be online traffic coming onto your store through various means, which can be Facebook, which can be Google, so on and so forth. Offline, it can be where your store is placed. How well your store is placed, that's when more and more people come in. And after that, once that traffic is taken care of, you have to ensure that in today's world, you have to definitely set up a social media presence. Everybody and anybody who is not living under a rock knows that social media is the most important aspect when you are connecting with your customers and prospective customers. The look and feel of your brand, the brand language, the brand persona, that is what really drives new people to you guys. And once all of this is set up, you have your orders, everybody's coming in. What about your operations? How do operations get set up? Where do you set these things up? Do you have a warehouse? Do you outsource? How do you set up technology? So on and so forth. Now, all of these are taken towards building a brand loyalty that is going to last the entire lifetime of your brand and increase profitability. These two are the key points where you want to build. And remember one thing, brand building takes time. You have to be patient and you have to be razor sharp towards what you're doing. Your technology, your sales, your focus, these have to be there. Now, the big question comes in-house operations versus outsourced operations. This becomes really critical at any given point of time because both have the pros and both have the cons. Now, imagine you have your in-house operations. You have just started your business. You have a choice. Do you want to fulfill your own operations? Imagine today you're going to do 10 units in a day. Then a few months down the line, 100 units in a day. Then few months after that, you're going to do 1,000 units a day and so on and so forth. Can you set up those operations on your own? Do you want to set up those operations on your own? Because setting up operations on your own is going to take up a huge capital cost from your side. Renting warehouses, getting employees on board, training costs, and not just training costs, but very quickly changing of processes. That is where we really focus and really suggest that you focus on building your own brand, building on the parts where you are getting procurement right, getting your traffic right, and outsource operations where you and where you can as much as possible because this will really help you scale up so fast that you really don't need to worry about these parts. Now, how these things happen is that in a third-party warehouse, it's pretty simple. You have your manufacturing partner. The manufacturing partner packs your products, sends it directly to your warehouse. You have an order that comes. That warehouse, the third-party logistics provider, fulfills your product and sends it to the customer. Tomorrow, you want to expand to different cities of your operations. You want that, okay, I want one warehouse in Delhi, one warehouse in Bangalore, one warehouse in Mumbai. It becomes as simple as a click. You just have to talk, and the companies today tend to open operations probably in a week's time. Over the last 10 years, logistics, 3PL logistics have become really, really big. And a lot of brands are there where you can simply choose from based on the commercials, based on the processes, based on the market feedback, which is immense. Some examples would be Shiprocket Fulfillment, ANS Digital, Emisa, so on and so forth. There are many, many number of options. Now, supply chain technology at the nerve center of D2C. We're going to spend some time understanding why supply chain technology is really critical and why it is the make or break of your entire operations. Why is something like this so critical for everybody? Now imagine one thing, you have one system and that system talks to each and every other system. That is what the supply chain technology enables you to do. Imagine that you are using so many technologies. One would be your marketplaces, one would be where you have set up your own website, one would be your financial systems, one would be your accounting systems, one would be your logistics providers, so and so many more. You would have your CRMs, and the list is endless. But the supply chain technology is that one central piece which connects to each and everything. Everything comes here and everything passes by here to go into your ERPs, to go into your SMS providers, into your shipping providers. So if that system has a very robust integration technology, that is what you really need, and that is why it becomes a nerve center. And I think which one has to be a very, very critical point when you're choosing your supply chain technology over here. Let's quickly start. Inventory. What is inventory? Why is inventory called as the real asset? Now imagine you have your entire business. Inventory is the product that you're actually selling to the end consumer. And inventory is what takes up majority of the capital that you have invested. The more inventory you sell, the better you are. And the slower you sell, the worse off you are. Now, from a perspective, imagine that if you're selling, say, 100 units in a day, in a month, you would probably need 3,000 units to sell in your warehouse. If you have something around 3,000 to 4,000 units in your warehouse, you're perfectly fine. You know that you're going to get your money very quickly. You're going to have a quick inventory turn. But if that inventory, rather than having 3 to 4,000, that inventory is 20,000 units, you are sitting on 7 to 8 months of inventory, my friend. You are in trouble. And that is where inventory is very, very critical. You have to ensure that inventory is very, very properly planned. And the other part is you know where your inventory is. Even 4 to 5% of delta on where your inventory is can be a deal breaker. How technology plays a role over here? Technology will basically tell you where your inventory is at any given point in time. Which shelf is the inventory in? When did the inventory come into your system? When did the inventory leave your system? If there is any mismatch, your inventory should be able to trigger a system where you are able to count your inventory manually or offline. But your inventory reconciliation, your inventory location, and your inventory data should be very, very pristine. That is what technology plays a role into this. When we talk about the impact on business that this particular thing has, it is a simple thing. Any product or any business that is there, you want to do first thing that came into your warehouse should be the first thing that leaves your warehouse. If you had a product sitting in your warehouse from January and you are now selling a product which was inwarded in February, that is a problem. Or probably you're outwarding a product that was inwarded in September. That's an issue. So easy implementation of FIFO first and first out is very critical. Second part is you need to know your inventory, where exactly it is, because that's your working capital. And tracking your working capital to the last buck is the most important part. And in the end, dead stock. Dead stock is something that pulls you down. Dead stock can be something that has never been made live on the warehouse front end. It has never been taken out, or there is a photo shoot pending, or there is bad inventory after customer returns. How quickly does your system tell you that this is the dead stock that you have that has not moved at all? This is very, very important from your business perspective. And from a customer perspective, it is very, very clear. You have to ship the right product to the right customer very quickly. There has to be absolutely zero errors when you're dispatching. You have to ensure that the expiry date is pristine. You have to ensure that the product, the image, everything is pristine. And on top of that, you should not be taking more orders than you have inventory for. We also have some factors to keep in mind while you're choosing your inventory management solution. Now, you have to remember while you're choosing, you have to choose and figure out what level of inventory tracking do you want. Do you want to track it purely on basis of the EN code or the SKU code? Or do you want to track the expiry of that particular product in batches? Or do you want to actually track each and every unit with a separate unique barcode? Probably if you have electronics where you're selling mobile phones, which have IMEI number, you will definitely need an item level tracking. Or if you have something which is so highly valuable, you have to understand that you have to track every unit that is there. Next comes the inventory reconciliation methodology and the reporting infrastructure and how quickly you can figure out what inventory you have. And last, I just want to set in 2 points. One is when you are doing your inventory, remember, you need to have not more than 30 to 45 days of inventory for a healthy inventory and less than 2% of dead stock. The leading brands that provide a robust system would be systems like Unicommerce, systems like SAP. Warehouse. Warehouse is where the entire action takes place. Every order that comes into your system gets processed at the warehouse. And it is really exciting to see when your warehouse is doing fully functional operations, especially during the sales time. Everybody is running around, and at the heart of the operations is the warehouse management system. That is what makes the entire sale and the entire part smoothly run. Rather than running around in the warehouse, your team would be very smoothly processing orders, taking them from one place to another, and ensuring that everything is dispatched on time. There is absolutely no need to worry. There is absolutely no wrong shipment. That is what a good warehouse system does for you. Now, warehouse management system starts directly from procurement after the product has been dispatched from your factory. Then you inbound the product, you put it onto your shelves, you track that particular inventory, you get the orders, you pick and pack the orders, you ship the orders, you connect it to the courier, the best courier that is available. You send updates to the customer on where the order is. This is an overall encompassing system and takes care of the entire leg. This will have different parts, and those different parts may work together very closely, or you can choose to have different systems also working together in tandem for this. Now, the impact on business is very clear. This is the warehouse, this is the entire supply chain that you have. If you have a robust system, it will lower your working capital of your entire brand. It will lower your manpower cost if your system is very organized and ensure you have quicker inventory turns. Impact on customer tends to be very simple. Quicker delivery times means happy customers. Every customer that tends to come in, if they get the order within 1 to 3 days, they will be super happy. They will be the ones promoting you. Your system also needs to ensure that you are sending the correct product to the correct customer. And all of these will lead to a very happy and returning customer. We have to figure out the factors to keep in mind when we are selecting the best solution that is there. You have to know that as your operations grow, you will not be limited to just one warehouse. You will be opening warehouses in different cities. Why? Because you need to be closer to the customer. You want Bangalore customers to receive the orders in 1 to 2 days. You want Mumbai customers to receive orders in 1 to 2 days. Same for Delhi, same for any part of the country. So your system or warehouse management system needs to be able to integrate all of these systems and all of these warehouses into one single view. It has to be able to automate very critical tasks for you, which basically mean getting the correct product at the correct time and reducing your time source. And after that, having mature sub processes. Mature sub processes can be individual systems as well, but how much depth do these systems have? Whether it be procurement, inbound, inventory, order management, returns, everything tends to come in. And you have to be very careful with systems. You would recommend either go with something like a Unicommerce, which is the gold standard for all startups, or you can go in for an SAP, which has been in the industry for quite some time. Both of these systems are really good. Now you've got your orders. When you're getting all your orders, you have to make sure that these orders get verified. What does that mean? When we talk about a very simple term, the Indian economy works on cash. Even now, it reflects on your e-commerce. Close to around 65% of the orders that you get on your online, 65 to 70 would be cash and delivery orders, and prepaid would be around 30 to 35%. That's fine. But the problem tends to be is that the cash and delivery orders have a huge RTO rate, which is return to origin. Why do we have these and what do you have these? Which basically means that your customer may not be actually willing to take the order, may have not committed his amount to the order, so he may not be even available to pick the orders. They have forgotten to cancel the order because they have gotten it from a different website, or in a simple ways, they have put in wrong addresses. These things tend to really eat your bottom lines. In a very simple manner, the cost of RTO will start from 100 rupees for a product and go upwards of 300 rupees depending on the volumetric weight you have, depending on where your customers you have. What you need to do is simply ensure that all your orders are converted to verified orders. You check the addresses, you check the intent of the customer, you check the phone number of the customer. You can simply start by doing a call to the customer and checking everything. And as scale grows, you have to get into technology. The technology would be whether a WhatsApp verification or an SMS OTP verification or you have tools which basically look at the risk profile of the customers based on the pin code they're ordering from. But these tools really go a long way in ensuring that you do not dispatch a product for a probable return. These things are really important. Again, the impact on business is immense. These directly impact your bottom line. And after that, you have to ensure that if you have a chance of risk, why not try to convert them into prepaid orders? It's a simple thing. Try to call the customer, check with the customer, give them a coupon that if they convert it to prepaid, you probably will give them 5 to 10% off. And I think that is not only just going to ensure that your order gets delivered, but the customer satisfaction will also be high. These are certain ways of increasing your prepaid part, and that is very important. The impact on customer, if you are not verifying the order, can tend to be that if the customer by mistake had put in an incorrect phone number or may had put in a wrong address, the delivery would not happen and the customer confidence would tend to reduce. Factors to keep in mind when selecting an order verification solution. Now, the parameters that you need to look at while you're selecting a solution have to be: how does your solution look at the risk profiling? How does your system verify the phone numbers? What is the percentage of success? What are other sellers talking about this particular system? I think the word of mouth that each and every solution has is going to go a huge way. And obviously, apart from this, the cost have to be there. You have to weigh out the cost of using the solution versus the cost of an RTO. If you compare both of them, whichever is better, definitely go for those. These solutions do work and go a long way in reducing your RTOs. When you're talking about the measures of success, it's very clear that when you talk about number, a 15 to 20% of RTO is the golden number. If you have anything less than that, that's excellent. Your business is going really well. And in prepaid numbers, in prepaid orders, it should be more than 30 to 35%. Anything more than that, just take it and be happy about it. Leading brands that look at solutions like this can be solutions like that talk about WhatsApp notifications, or Third Watch, which are into risk profiling, Exotel, which are into SMS OTP or IVR, or Logicy, which tend to combine all of these solutions together. Go for these solutions, you'll definitely like these. Order management is the thing that tends to define your entire customer experience. Why is it so important that order management is at the core of this entire part? It's important because whenever an order comes to your system, you have to quickly process the order, dispatch the order, and deliver it to the customer. Your clock starts at the very moment you get the order into your system. What should you be doing? What should your system be doing? Now, your system should be able to capture all orders into a single system. Your system should be able to make sure that all orders are processed with the same process. There is no different things or different ways to process different platforms. You can't have a different process for Amazon or a different process for Magento. All of them should be one single process. You need to make sure that your technology enables something like this. I'll give you a fun fact over here. Now, when you have a system like Unicommerce, when you have multiple platforms where you're selling, you can process close to around 100 orders in a span of 7 to 8 minutes. But if you're processing all those orders into each and every system, you're processing Amazon separately, Magento separately, all of them, the same number of orders will tend to take you 4 to 5 hours. That's the efficiency that we are talking about, that you need in your order management system. Technology is everything. Technology automates everything and streamlines all your processes. And when order management is very clear, you have to ensure that order management takes care of all your orders. Impact on business tends to be very quick, very fast. Faster order processing means less operation cost. You're getting more from the team in the same amount of time. It ensures that you are communicating to the customer very quickly where your order is, where it has reached. And you have to make sure that your system allows you to have zero error orders. How do you do quality checks into your system? And from an impact on customer perspective, as soon as the order comes, the correct order gets shipped out. That is the biggest impact. That is the happiest thing that the customer wants. When you're selecting an order management solution, you have to make sure of very important things. First of all, does it integrate with all the places where you're selling? If it does, perfect. That's a really good solution. Does it integrate with your financial management system? If yes, that's important because you have to, in the end, file your returns. Does it integrate with the logistics providers? Does it allow you to send the orders to the correct warehouse? For example, if you have five, six different warehouses when you're getting your orders, how do you ensure that Mumbai warehouse gets the correct orders, which are more near to Mumbai? How do you make sure Delhi orders are given to the Delhi warehouse? And when you're talking about how and what you need to judge the system on, you have to make sure that whenever an order comes 20 less than 24 hours, you have to dispatch this particular order. Your quality fail returns have to be less than 0.1%. And you have to go for good brands that aim to do it, which will basically take away your pain. Brands such as Unicommerce really focus on working on something like this. Now that you have dispatched your order, where do you dispatch it? Who do you dispatch it with? How do you ensure that after the dispatch is done, it reaches the customer in time? That is what choosing the right courier partner for you will tend to do. Your order management system has to be integrated with the correct courier partners, the correct systems that are already there out there in the market. It can be systems like individual courier providers, or it can be aggregators, but your system should be able to make a decision on which one do you want to choose, uh, based on pin codes, based on cost, based on serviceability, based on how close your customer is. The quicker decision that is made in finding out the courier partner, the better. And the faster courier provider that you figure out, the quicker delivery customer times you have. And that will definitely lead to a higher customer satisfaction rate. A fun fact over here is that based on all of our years of working with brands and my own experience as well, if you have an order which is supposed to be delivered, any day added beyond 3 days will increase the chances of return by 10%. The customer tends to lose interest. So if it is 1 day, 2 day, perfect. 3 days, that's fine. But anything more than that will keep on adding 10 to 10% every day. While you're selecting a logistics solution, you have to make sure that logistics solution is compatible with your order management solution. And it also defines which courier to choose. It makes all your decisions for you. The decisions can be based on various factors. It can be speed of delivery, it can be cost, it can be RTOs that the particular courier has. It should be able to order you 1 day or a 2 day delivery time, even though at an added cost, but you should have that capability. That is what a good logistics solution will end up doing for you. When you're trying to figure this part out, you have to make sure that in the end you measure it by two or three different factors. When you dispatch the product, it should reach within 2 days if it is in the same region, whether it be North India, South India, so on and so forth. And if it is pan India, you have to make sure it reaches in 3.5 days maximum. This is what a good solution will tend to do. Brands that give good solutions are like Delivery, Shiplight, Shiprocket, Express Then you have ClickWorks. There are many out there. Over the last 5 years, this economy has really boosted and has provided great solutions out there. Customer returns or a returning customer. I think there are some times in business you have to expect that there will be people who will tend to return your products. You really don't need to get disheartened. You really don't need to feel that, yes, you've lost a customer. I think these are chances where, and these are points where you can ensure that the customer returns tend to become returning customers. How do you tend to do that? There are two ways to do it. First of all, how do you ensure that the customer returns itself don't happen? One thing that you need to ensure is when you're dispatching the product, there has to be a very strong quality check, which your technology should enable you. It should allow you to look at the product on the screen and on the product. You have to be able to check the expiry date, the manufacturing date. So there are no misshipments. First of all, is that. Second of all, when the product is created as a customer return, your system should be able to quickly process that return. While you are a customer, you place an order with a company and you found that the product is not as per your requirements. You want to raise a customer return. The biggest pain point a customer tends to face is that the company takes huge time in even processing that return, acknowledging the return, and after that, getting that picked up, then the refund. That entire journey sometimes tends to take days and days and really puts the customer off. What you need to do is that once a customer return is created, you have to ensure everything gets sorted within 48 hours. Yes, I mean the entire part, right from picking up of the product from the customer to refunding of the customer has to be done as quickly as possible. If you do this, your customer satisfaction level will be even much higher. They will tend to promote your product. They will tend to tell other people that, hey, I found a product, it was not great. The company returned the product and refunded within 48 hours at par with the biggest of e-commerce companies. And that is where you tend to gain respect and command loyalty of the customers. Your system should be able to figure out how to quickly assign a courier, how to quickly refund a product. These are two important points. There are systems or there are logistics companies that now tend to do a quality check even at the customer location itself, and they will ensure that they pick it up only once the entire quality check is done. Use those companies. After that, getting these things to your warehouse should not be a problem. This would take somewhere around a week to 10 days, depending on the customer. The impact on business for this has to be important. Faster inventory turns will be there. If your product is received quicker in the system, it is processed, refurbished very quickly in the system, there will be back to inventory back available to sale. And if there are bad inventory that is coming to your warehouse, your system should be able to keep those separately, create them into a vendor return or a refurbishment return so that you quickly get that thing sorted out and improve your margin. From an customer perspective, any delay in customer returns tends to be a problem. Just ensure that 48 hours is the rule that you follow. While you're selecting this kind of solution, you have to make sure that your customer return solution offers you different permutations and combinations. Whether you want to dispatch your product from one warehouse and get it returned to another warehouse, you have to ensure that your solution allots the best courier to pick up the product in the quickest time possible. You have to choose a courier in case you want to make an exchange, hand-to-hand exchange in some cases. There are systems that provide something like that. And in the end, we have offline systems when the returns tend to come in after the end of season, where you have hundreds of units coming back to your warehouse. How does your system handle a bulk return process? These are things that tend to come in important points. And when you're looking at in the end measures on how do you want to run this entire system, look at less than 10% returns in fashion. There'll always be size returns. Don't worry about those. Just make sure your systems are robust. And in any other category, look at anything less than 2%. These things have to be there. And once the return has been created by the customer, ensure within 48 hours you pick it up and you refund the money. These are things that really make a difference. Brands that tend to provide a solution, something like this, would be brands like Unicommerce, brands like Shipway, brands like ShipRocket, and ReturnFine. These are something that really go a long way. Now, now that we've gone through the entire supply chain technology, what it does, how important it is, we are going to look at and summarize very important critical parts that tend to summarize your entire operations. If you look at these metrics, these are the ones that are going to define how efficient your entire supply chain technology is, how efficient your operations are. All you need to do is form monthly, quarterly, fortnightly reviews, track these metrics, and you are done. You don't need to worry about anything at all. So first would be inventory. How many days of cover of inventory do you have? 30 to 45 days. If you have anything more than that, look at liquidating the product or sending it back to the vendor or putting it on discounts. If you have dead inventory, which is more than 2%, look at ways to reduce that. Whether it be the product is damaged, you have to refurbish it or make it live on different websites. These are the numbers. When you get an order, you have to process it in less than 24 hours. No matter what you do, no matter where you are, this golden rule has to remain. It has to be processed in less than 24 hours and handed over to the courier. If it is less than 24 hours, perfect. If it is more than 24 hours, you have a huge red flag. Never ever underestimate this part. After that, you have to look at quality fail related returns. It has to be less than 0.1%. When you do get those, figure out where the inventory was, why the quality failed, and what can you do to ensure things are there. And after that, you have to also ensure that if there is an RTO, what is the percentage of RTO? You don't need to worry about 4, 5, 6, 7%, or even 15 to 20%. But if it is more than 20%, look at how you're verifying your orders. Don't dispatch orders where there are huge disputes. You're just going to end up burning your bottom line. And in the last, you have to increase your prepaid order share. Anything more than 35% works. How do you increase your market share? Sorry, prepaid order share. You have to figure out ways uh, by calling the customer, offering them discounts, putting it on your websites that prepaid orders are cheaper. Do these things, convert them. And if they are, especially in cases where or places where there is huge risk of return certain pin code, you have to make sure that you accept only prepaid orders. These might end up looking at reducing sales by 1 or 2%, but these will definitely ensure that your systems and products are delivered perfectly fine. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I think this masterclass would have really helped you in scaling your brand. You can definitely reach out to us. We have a huge list of brands who have gone from 0 to 100 to 1,000. We have brands like Marico who have started their D2C journey recently. We have brands like Bestseller. We have brands like Mama Earth, M Caffeine. The who's who of D2C brands are working with us and getting all the problems solved as they're scaling up. So definitely do reach out to us. We are reachable out at www.unicommerce.com, and our email ID is contact us at unicommerce.com. Have a good day, everybody, and wishing you all the very best in scaling your brand. Thank you.